to another episode of Blam Truckers. I am Bees.
You are?
Oh, I'm Hughes. I'm confused. I am out of coffee. I should have made more. I am just very, very confused. That's who I am. I am neither Buse nor Bees. I am confused, which
There's
rhymes
one
with
more Blam
Buse.
Blam trucker out there trucking away.
Indeed. But I
I'm
think that's
Bees. I
Bees.
know I'm Bees. So here we are again, another episode of Blam Blam Truckers, trucking down the highway of the internet, the information super highway, coming to you live on pre-recorded video cassette, except for the video cassette part and the live part. Now, we're here to talk to you today about all the geeky, wonderful things that we love, and hopefully you love too. And since we're actually getting some of these out relatively close to after we record them, we figured we'd talk about some recent news. Not that that's ever stopped us in the past, you just don't know it because we haven't gotten them out that fast. You will know it eventually. So, the cast for Fantastic Four, the MCU edition, has been announced along with hints at the possible plot, or at least the time period they want to set it in, and we figured we'd talk about it and try to keep it positive, which is not going to be as easy for me as it is for my good friend over here and his good friend on his shoulder,
Hello,
Grogu.
Grogu. And actually, funny enough, it's actually appropriate for this discussion.
All right. Why is Grogu? Why is Grogu? I feel like I was channeling the Swedish chef there. Why is Grogu? Holy flying mattresses. Let's try that again, shall we? And scene. Why is Grogu? I did it again. I did it again! I quit, you win. Why is Grogu appropriate for a discussion on the MCU's Fantastic Four?
Because the Mandalorian star, Pedro Pascal, has been announced as our new Reed Richards.
Did you say Pedro Pascal?
I did say Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal is going to play Reed Richards?
Pedro Pascal is going to play Reed Richards.
That's amazing.
Yes. And so somewhat replacing, I guess, not really, because it was alternate, whatever, but John Krasinski, who played him in Multiverse of Madness, which I understand it being changed, whether because if John Krasinski didn't want it, that's perfectly fine, and even if he did want it, if Disney wants to change that actor, that is completely their right. But I would have loved to have seen John Krasinski play him in a
Me too. I like John Krasinski a lot.
movie. I just started watching The Office,
Hmm.
and wow, considering watching The Office and having watched Jack Ryan,
Yeah.
that man has a range. He has a very good range for an actor.
Most actors do have a decent range.
Yeah, I'm used to a lot of some. We try to stay positive, but we'll just say that there's a lot of modern actors who I feel don't have very much range.
A lot of actors also get typecast. You know, like if a studio knows that, if you make John Krasinski the funny, doofy guy with the heart of gold, it's going to sell a TV show. They're going to keep making John Krasinski. I don't know if that's the fairest description of Jim ever, but he was a little doofy and he was funny. And even with Dwight, he tended to have a heart of gold, that character that he played. He may have been pushing Dwight's buttons a lot, but Dwight was also subconsciously pushing, what's his character's name in The Office there?
Jim?
Jim's buttons, yes.
Subconscious, and I'm only into episode 5, but I don't think Dwight was subconsciously pushing Jim's buttons. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of consciousness there, especially when he's taking a ruler to push the edges of books back onto Jim's desk.
Yeah, but a lot of what he did came from who he was more than he wasn't trying to annoy Jim as much as he's this weird little man in his weird little world, which I can really identify with, and things have to be just just so with him. And I know a lot of people like that that aren't
I,
like OCD necessarily, certainly not full blown OCD, but those tendencies are there in most people. Um, and I see that a lot. Like there's this
at the
guy at
risk of
work.
turning, oh, sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
No, no, I'll let you finish the sentence.
there's this guy at work who can't. We have telephones, and they have cords, and he cannot abide with a twisted telephone cord. So he would,
Yep.
if he saw a twisted telephone cord, and if you guys remember telephone cords from back in the day when telephones were just telephones, they still exist, I swear. Um, it's very easy for the cord to get twisted. So when other people wanted to annoy him, I never actually did this. I was tempted a few times when he got on my case, but I didn't. That's a horrible way. Pulling a prank on somebody is not the right way to do conflict resolution.
Resolution.
But if he was just annoying people and they didn't want to, say, hey, look, can you give me a break here? Let me know why this is so important to you because it's driving me up a wall. Other people would just take the telephone cords, and knowing he was about to come into the room, they would just twist them like crazy and plug them back into the phone. Unplug, twist it like crazy, plug it back in, and it would take him 5 or 10 minutes to get all the cords untwisted, which only took a couple of seconds to twist up. So yeah, and I know people like Dwight. Not as bad as Dwight. He's exaggerated for comedic effect, but yeah. And he was driving Jim up a wall. So Jim drove him back up a wall. And it really came across to me in the episodes of The Office that I watched, was about 5 of the first 5 seasons or so. Binge watching is not a great way to watch an episodic television show. It really seemed to me like that Dwight wasn't trying to annoy Jim as often as Jim was trying to annoy Dwight, but Dwight was annoying Jim far more often than Jim was annoying Dwight. I'm not going to
But
say that 5 times fast.
at the risk of turning this into an episode of episode where we talk about The Office, which we can do in the future, hopefully
Or
after
we
I've watched more than 5 episodes. Um,
Boy, I'm glad I didn't get into too many specifics there.
but yeah, so we have Pedro Pascal, who's playing our fearless leader, Reed Richards. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if he's a fearless leader. I didn't do much Fantastic Four reading. Uh,
Ah,
then we have Vanessa Kirby, who I personally, well, no, I don't personally know her, but my experience with her acting has mainly been the Mission Impossible movies, which I thought she
mm-hmm.
was decent in. Uh, wasn't as big of a role, so I have nothing to really judge her by, but I'm told she's a pretty decent actress. That's great. Then we have Joseph Quinn, who I know mainly from Stranger Things, coming in as Johnny Storm, as a younger Johnny Storm, as opposed to, it seems like they're going with an older Reed Richards by choosing Pedro Pascal, because Pedro Pascal is my age, a couple years older.
Years
Uh,
old.
but, and then I don't want to butcher his name, and I have not seen him in anything that I am aware of.
And Buse
Uh,
absolutely assures me, that Joseph Quinn is not related in any way, shape, or form to the medicine woman. No, not even a giggle.
I'm
All
giggling.
right.
Okay, so
Maybe if he gets his doctorate,
okay,
then he'll be Dr. Quinn. So
here we
while
go.
he's looking this
Here we
up to
go.
get that name, oh, go ahead.
Eben Moss Buckruck, and I apologize in advance if I am butchering his name.
I'm
Uh,
sure we are.
but yeah, and I don't think I know him from anything, but I can take a quick look at IMDb to see if I'm a liar. But that's what we know about the cast so far. We have a lot of people who there's rumors coming out about possibly Doom being in it, and if he is, who's they might still be looking for someone to play him. I know that Ben Mendelsohn has specifically stated he'd like to come back into the MCU and play the role, but I doubt that they would actually do that. I wouldn't mind it though, because he's a good actor. You know who Ben Mendelsohn is, right?
Not off the top of my head.
So he played Talon in Captain Marvel and plays bad guys in a lot of movies. He was in Rogue. He played the bad guy in Rogue One. Uh,
Hmm. Good
but
actor.
Yeah, he's a very good actor. I would. He'd be a good Doom. He'd be an older Doom, just like we have an older.
So one of the problems I already have with this cast is Ben and Reed are not close in age
Oh,
because Reed
really?
and Ben went to college together in the original comics.
What? How old is Evan?
12. No, I don't know.
Now I have to look. Now I have to look. Well, I'm on his
He's
IMDb
got to
page.
know. Um,
I've got to know.
he's got to know. Uh, yeah. We're 11 minutes in, and
Um, they are about the same age, the actors.
really, they don't look it.
Pedro Pascal is 45. This guy is oh no, not 45. He's 48. The other guy's 45. That's within a
Oh,
couple of years of each other.
okay. I've only seen the one picture, so.
Yeah, he looks younger, but Pedro Pascal is given into his gray
Hmm.
fairly fairly well. This guy, I'm not saying he hasn't, but he's kind of
He may
like
not have
me,
any
where
gray.
like I've got some gray hairs here and there. I'm
Hmm.
43, but I don't have as many
Nobody
gray
loves you when you're
hairs.
43, and you still act like you're in freshman year.
But I don't have as many gray hairs as even some of my friends do.
That's
Um,
true.
so it all depends. Some people think I'm in my 30s, to which I say, thank you.
All right. So that concern is now nullified. That's good. But
Uh,
um, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in general, I'm willing to give it a shot. As I've said, I'm not as big of a fan of Fantastic Four, but I wasn't a big fan of Iron Man. I wasn't
Who was?
the biggest fan of. I actually wasn't a big fan of Captain America
Name one
until
great Iron Man story before the MCU started.
Extremis came out after the MCU started, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. And I didn't even, from what I've heard, it wasn't that great of a story. Um, I never really followed Iron Man. He was in a couple Avengers comics I owned. I didn't really follow the Avengers. I was just like many people of my generation. I was an X-Men, Spider-Man. When it came to Marvel, I was X-Men, Spider-Man. I got into New
Mm-hmm.
Warriors a bit. I read some Punisher, but Fantastic Four, nah. Avengers, nah. The only Avengers comics I read had Beast in them because he was
So
one of my favorite Marvel characters.
that's one of the things about uh, these characters is even if one of the things about Iron Man, one of the things about Captain America, uh, it's a litmus test. As a fan of comic books, somebody who's read them, name a great story that almost everyone can name with those characters in it. And before you actually attempt that challenge, name one great X-Men story.
Age of Apocalypse, I actually enjoyed. Phoenix Saga, Dark Phoenix Saga, because those are two separate ones. Fight me
Hmm.
on it in the comments if you want. Uh, let's
Please don't. You
see.
will lose. They are two very different storylines.
Inferno. I can actually continue going on.
Okay, you're an X-Men fan. I'll grant you that. Name one great Spider-Man storyline.
Maximum Carnage. Uh, Round Robin.
Ooh,
Clone
I wouldn't say that
Saga.
was great, but yeah.
Oh, I loved Round Robin.
Oh, I
Now,
loved it
grant
too, but most non-Spider-Man fans wouldn't mention that one. I was thinking of the Alien symbiote storyline.
that's I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Okay. I can't do it with Iron Man. Couldn't do it with Captain America.
nope.
Name one great Fantastic Four storyline.
Uh, I'm assuming Galactus is coming in.
The Coming
But
of Galactus is the name of the storyline. Yes.
yep. Uh, that
Boom,
is
you did
pro
it.
Yeah, and that was like an early one.
Issue
But that
50,
one's but that's also been done in
I think.
but that's also been done on heck. It was the second movie did it too. So if I
Hmm.
didn't know about it before Rise of the Silver Surfer, I learned about it there. Um,
That's
Also,
fair.
they also did it in, I think, the Fantastic Four cartoons. They
Mm-hmm.
also did it in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did any sort of research on it, you'd realize, oh, this is coming from Fantastic Four originally. So I know it, but it's because they've done it in other media as well. Just like a lot of the
So
X-Men stuff they did in other media as well.
that's because they tell their best stories in other media.
Fair enough.
Um,
Actually, I think
yeah,
they did Maximum Carnage in other media as well, specifically video games.
yeah. There was a video game named Maximum Carnage for the, what
Hmm.
was that, Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo?
Yep.
Or was it after that? I don't remember. Um,
No, it was Genesis and
the point
Super
it's
Nintendo.
called the Q rating. How well the public knows who these characters are. It's their Q rating. So somebody like Yantu, I think his name was, from Guardians of the Galaxy, the blue
Yondu.
guy with the red hair.
Yondu.
Yandu, that's it.
Do the do.
Yandu in Guardians of the Galaxy is not the Yandu from the comics, not even close.
No.
Um, but that didn't stop people from enjoying the character and loving how they changed. They probably, excuse me, they probably don't even know that they changed him from the comics. But it has nothing to do with Yandu from the comics, which is fine. It worked out. Uh, you're never going to be able to do it. We've talked about this before. You're never going to have a perfect one-to-one. And uh, yeah, we're at 17 minutes though. What else do you want to say about the Fantastic Four?
I am looking forward to it with anticipation and trepidation because
Mhm.
I want Marvel to continue to succeed even after Endgame. While I've not been the biggest fan post Endgame, there have been some stuff I've liked. Amazingly enough, even though I felt it wasn't made for me, I've said this before, but possibly on episodes that didn't get released yet. I enjoyed Miss Marvel when I went back and watched it. I was surprised.
Mhm.
Um, Iman Vellani, I think is her name.
I'll
Again,
let it be.
sorry,
Close enough.
but she plays a very likable character. There's been other media I have not liked Miss Marvel in, but she was a very likable character. The story, while I wasn't the big fan of, was brought to life in a way that was fun, exciting to watch, and made me want to see the next episode most of the time.
All that's very important in a TV show.
And I can say that there have been other Marvel TV shows which I was looking forward to that I watched the day they came out that I was not quite feeling that way. I felt I
Yeah.
had to watch the next episode because I'm a geek and it's what I'm required to do.
It's one of my compulsions. I must finish the series, Master. Um,
And so yeah,
I
like
used to feel that way, but I've been let down too many times. I am not looking forward to the Fantastic Four. If you guys have been watching, then you know what I would have done with the Fantastic Four and what basic
actually that
requirements I would
episode may not
start
have
with.
been released.
What?
That episode may not have been. Oh, wait, no, we did release that
Yeah, we
episode. Never
released that
mind.
one.
That was like
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
yeah. From the time of recording, then, well, anyway,
Yeah,
we'll leave the maths out there. Uh, you know what I would have done? You know what I think is important? Um, the Reed Richards and Ben Grimm were heroes long before they got superpowers, and I see no evidence of Marvel taking that into consideration. They're the MCU taking that into consideration when making these characters. I don't think they're going to get the characters to resemble or feel like the characters from the comics like they did with Iron Man in the movies is not Iron Man from the comics, but he's got the same kind of character that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were trying to create is very similar to the character that Robert Downey Jr. portrayed on screen. They got his essence right, and since Endgame, I don't think Marvel has gotten the essence of the character right in any of their MCU films or TV shows. We could argue that, but we're coming to the end of the time here. 20 minutes is the time limit we set for ourselves.
Yeah. So
So,
for right. And for those of you who do watch our 4 to 8 regular viewers, I would like to
thank you.
ask this. Yes,
Tell your
thank you.
friends.
Tell your friends, and also in the comments, let us know if you prefer this shorter format, because
Yeah.
we're doing it to hopefully have more people be willing to watch, because sometimes a 1 to 2 hour block of time is a bit much for some people. I still
Mm-hmm.
plan on releasing all the ones we record in one night as an actual podcast type thing, so you can watch it all at the same time if you want. But let us know if you prefer these smaller episodes, because we're here for you. We want you to enjoy it, and we do also want to grow, though. So let us know. And with that, Bees, I'll let you do your normal if you'd
Oh,
like.
yeah. If anybody knows how to contact the WB or Time Warner Discovery, whatever they're calling themselves these days, I would love to pitch a movie to David Zaslav or whoever listens to movie pitches over there for the DC Universe. Or, well, not their DC Universe. I have an amazing pitch, all prepped and ready to go. Um, yeah, I'd love to do one. If you know how to contact them, that'd be great. Reach out to us here at Blam Blam Truckers. So all you truckers out there in Blam Blam Truckerland, we just hope that you keep on Blam Blam trucking along.
And before I say see you, truckers, I'll just say, listen, if Kevin Feige happens to be watching, I mean, I don't mind. I know Bees doesn't want to work for you, but I'm perfectly fine with it. I've got ideas too.
I don't think the reason why I want to work for the WB is for Warner Brothers is because I honestly believe they would give me a chance to get the story I want to tell told. Disney seems to have their own agenda of the stories they want to tell, which is they're their stories to tell. They're not mine. So I'm cool with that. I get it. But I don't think I'd get the kind of creative freedom to tell a story with the characters I want to use that would resonate with the American people.
Whereas I'm just in it for the money, and Disney has money, so I'll take it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow. Yeah, Kevin, give him a call.
All right. Well, everyone have
if Disney wants to hear a movie pitch, we did an entire episode or 2 episodes or whatever it was on me with stories for Disney. I have stories for everything you can possibly imagine, even shows I don't watch like Doctor Who. I've got some great Doctor Who pitches.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you guys again, and we will see you, truckers. If I can find the off button.
If
Where's
I
my
can
mouse?
turn back time. Wow, I'm so off.